Hey, what's up, y'all? I thought I'd give my opinion on the LA riots that are happening right now. Um, so, first of all, let me make something very clear. If you want to immigrate here legally, I have nothing against that. However, while a lot of people are considering legal immigration, it's not necessarily legal. I've been getting a lot of my information from JD Delay. He's a YouTuber. He's a felon, he's a felon, former convict. He's turned his life completely around. And he's fairly conservative, even though he doesn't really identify as really left, right, center, whatever. But he's probably the most informative person when it comes to politics. As well as two other YouTubers that I really love, like Amir Dam and Mr. L. Boyd, though I haven't really checked out their content much, and I need to, but they've all given really, really good explanations on some situations that have been happening in regards to U.S. politics and just events that are taking place in the world. Where's the Dixie? And, yeah. So, as J.D. DeLay has put it, he too does not care if you want to protest. Nothing wrong with that. That's completely fine. But once you start hurting people, getting rowdy, once you start vandalizing vehicles, once you start breaking into buildings, taking people against their will, assaulting police, assaulting federal agents, assaulting the military, like the National Guard, it's no longer peaceful protest. It's just riots. And therefore, as JD Delay has put it, you F around, you find out. You find out. And these people have effed around, and they're finding out. So here's my thoughts on the situation. So, in regards to legal immigration, if you come here legally with the intent to migrate legally, as in you come through the border, you take your place in line, which we'll get to the whole process thing in a second. If you do everything you're supposed to, and you go through the legal process, I have nothing against you. Nothing. I do have a problem with people who come here illegally. And as it's been brought up, I do kind of have a problem with people who are undocumented, because that can be a little bit troublesome for you, and it makes me worried for those people. So, if you're here illegally, you have not gone through a checkpoint, you just crossed the border, you have no documentation, you just crossed the border, and you're just trying to, yes, take advantage of what you can. Trying to get homes, trying to get vehicles, trying to get food stamps, trying to get access to other resources that generally, in my opinion, these people should not be having, because they're not United States citizens. I mean, sure, if you want to go to the store, fine, but you gotta have U.S. currency, because we don't take pesos from what I'm aware of. If you want to own a hotel, that's fine. If you want to rent a car, that's fine, but you can't own a car. You can't own a house. You can't just be given food stamps. The big concern people have in regards to immigration is the fact that the whole food stamp program is being almost completely removed. But then again, what's the reason behind that? Well, you have people who, one, are there's an unfair amount of food stamps going to people who shouldn't be getting them, when they should be going towards people actually in need, like veterans. There's a perfect example of this. I saw a clip, I think it was on YouTube, where it was a woman asking her husband, who served in the military. She was asking him about, do you know how much in food stamps, they get, and how many food stamps immigrants get. Immigrants have been getting thousands in food stamps, while a veteran and his wife, who probably don't have much money if they're on food stamps, only get $70, $72 worth of food stamps. That's betrayal. That's just wrong. So, yeah, that's just ridiculous. So, also the other reason why the food stamp program is being reduced is because you have, fairly, pardon my language, douchey people who Like, I think a good example was, someone saying that they'll continue to buy luxury brands and, keep driving the nice car and blah, 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 and then they'll expect the government to pay for, their groceries. Douchey stuff like that, like, that's another reason why you have a lot of people who, they should not have had food stamps in the first place, yet, unfortunately, they do. And that's another reason why the program is, why the program's funding is being reduced. And yeah, the big problem of it is because of douchey people, and it's also because of illegal migrants sort of expecting, hey, give me stuff. Like, I'm not trying to, like, I don't care if you want resources. That's completely fine. But it has been an absolute crap show under the 4 years of Biden. I don't like Biden. I don't think he was a good president. Some people swear he was a good president. I'm sorry, he was not. I do not think that man was mentally sound. If he was mentally sound, I'd consider it, but he was not a good president. And, sorry, Dixie. And, immigration has just become an absolute crap show. Because we basically have immigrants now who are demanding that they are given these resources since Donald Trump took office, and Donald Trump saying, no, we're not. So, and that's justifiable because a lot of our resources have been wasted. No offense, they just have. They've been wasted. A lot of our resources have been wasted under Biden in regards to a crap ton of money being spent more on foreign than domestic related issues. More money has been... Let me get away from the squeaking. More money has been spent on immigrants for food stamps, cars, and shelter. More money has been spent on, giving aid to Ukraine and giving aid to Israel and Palestine. When in reality, we've in total, for all three of those, we probably should have only given at most 25%, minimum 10%, let's say, of, in amount, like 10% to 25% of the entire budget that's been spent towards, resources used on immigrants and used in foreign countries. We've spent way too much money. I don't mind giving, helping people out, giving them resources like a little bit of a boost, or helping countries in distress, because, Ukraine was blatantly attacked, and do agree with that. But the amount that has been given, no, it's been way too much. And unfortunately, it's going to be hard because you're not going to be getting all that freaking money because, quite frankly, you didn't deserve it. Also, we've been spending way too much as it is, so we need to reduce cost. Now we move on to those who are undocumented. Now, this brings up a personal concern with a friend that I have. They are wanting to get married, and they have a fiance that's been doing schooling in computer tech, yet he has been undocumented since he was like 6 or 9. He's been undocumented for a long time. And so, taking a quick deep dive into taking a quick deep dive into law in regards to immigration and legal status and whatnot. According to federal law, if you're here illegally, no, I'm not going to feel bad for you if you get deported. I'm not going to feel bad for you. Because if you break the law, if you're here illegally, then you broke the law. And if you broke the law, you're not supposed to be here. Maybe that's a nuclear option, but it's true. If you broke federal law, why should you expect me to want my tax dollars to go towards resources that are funding people who shouldn't be here? Now, people who are non-documented is a different situation. So, it's sort of an in-between of illegal and just foreign. Legally speaking, if you're undocumented, you're legally not supposed to be here. You're still technically breaking the law. but that can also just lead to legal problems in general. And this is why I'm concerned for this friend, who will remain nameless. This person's fiance has been undocumented for a long time. And taking a look into the laws, if you're undocumented, you're not immune to deportation, unfortunately. Even if they got a green card for the fiance right now, that still does not mean that they are safe from deportation. That does not mean the fiance is safe from deportation. And it's kind of one of the things that, it's terrifying. But we can't really do anything about that. Yeah, it's going to seem unfair. But the only thing I can suggest to people, if they're here illegally or they're here undocumented and they're getting deported, don't make a fuss. Don't make it a big deal. Yeah, it sucks. Come here legally. And I would gladly, personally, if I ever got the chance, honestly, I'd love to help those people in regards to the immigration process. I'd have to learn a lot because I'm not a federal agent. I don't know anything about, the laws and whatnot. But if it meant, hey, we're going to give you resources to learn this so you can help people, I'd do it. I'd help these people become legal citizens. But if you're not a legal citizen, then unfortunately, it's terrifying, but there's not much for you. Now, there is another issue in regards to, people who are being deported wrongfully. And I think a lot of people have been sort of overinflating that issue. I think people have been making it seem like a big deal when it's not really that big of a deal. From what I've seen on the news, people make it seem like, so many legal citizens are being deported. And that's not the case. I don't think it's as many as people claim. I think maybe it's a few. And yeah, it's terrifying and it's concerning that, is it overzealousness? Is it an actual error? Which I'm thinking it's honestly going to be more likely just honestly going to error in regards to ICE. And yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks it happens. But I don't think it's as big as the deal as people are making it out to be. No, we should not be deporting our own citizens, which is why, we need to actually spend some time actually paying attention to what it is we need to do, who it is we need to deport, actually checking the damn paperwork. But here's my final thoughts in regards to this. So, I don't care if you're here to immigrate. If you're here to immigrate, that's completely fine, but you have to be here legally. I do agree, though, that the process needs to be shortened and it needs to be made more efficient. I completely agree with that. But protesting, or rioting in most cases, that you want change and making the lives difficult of law enforcement, immigration enforcement, and the military is not how you do that. You're just making the process slower because you're being a nuisance. Now, if you're here illegally, I'm sorry. I'm not going to feel bad if you get deported. Maybe that's a nuclear, approach to it. But if you're here illegally, you're legally not supposed to be here. You broke the law to get into this country. And people are like, oh, well, we got to do something so they can try to work it out. Some people suggest work, which unfortunately would fall under not so legal labor. Or people said, oh, they got to prove, they've been here a long time, which I get that, but then again, it's going to be hard to prove that they've actually been here that long, because I'm not saying all immigrants, but a lot of them do lie about that just so they can get to access to things that they know they shouldn't. So maybe it's an instance of, being, maybe it seems selfish, because it's like, oh, the bad bunch spoils the bunch, or the bad apple spoils the bunch, or whatever the hell the phrase is. But then again, it has been taken so poorly and managed so poorly that we kind of need to take extreme action to make sure we can actually make sure this country is stable. Because it's gotten slowly unstable since Biden took office, and for the past 4 years, when all he did was just make things difficult. He really did. Like, yeah, cool, he allowed more immigrants in. Most of them were not legal. It's overwhelming just a lot of things. It's overwhelming our economy. It's overwhelming housing. It's overwhelming food stamps. It's overwhelming a lot of resources. Maybe it's not as bad as it seems, but it's still bad and it's still concerning enough. So if you're not here legally, I'm sorry. I'm not going to feel bad if you get deported. Now, if you are here and you're undocumented, legally speaking, you're not supposed to be here. But I understand you're concerned. All I'm going to ask, don't resist the officers, get a lawyer, and work it out. That's your best bet. And if you get deported, don't make a fuss. Even though, yeah, it sucks. But if you do get deported, I'm sorry. But do please come back. Because I'm sure there are plenty of people who'd want to actually help you in regards to getting legal status. Just make sure to come here legally. Make sure you're documented. Because that's a big thing. If you're not documented, the same process is just going to happen again. And for repeat offenses, it's not pretty. You can get barred for a year. You could get barred for life. And I don't want that for anybody. Yes, America is, the country of opportunity. And I want people to live that opportunity. But you got to be here legally. And if you're coming through and you're wanting to immigrate, please make sure you're documented. And also, to all those protesters out there on the LA streets who are rioting, you're not justifying your cause by assaulting police, federal agents, or military. And if you get arrested, I'm absolutely not going to feel bad for you. And if you get deported because of it, regardless of your status, I'm not going to feel bad for you. That's your own freaking fault. You screwed around and you found out. That's your own stupidity. But if you want to protest peacefully, do so. But once you get violent, once things start to get ugly and you start doing things that are stupid, it's over. You're going to pay the consequence if you do that. So please don't do that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.